Hi guys, we're back on the third installment of our interviews with John from iBike, and I think that today we got the piece de résistance, as they say in France. In other words, this is their new product. This is the latest and the greatest,
right.
And I think that you do have a great product here. By the way, you were explaining it to me earlier, and it looks great. Well, basically, what it is how many iPhones and iPhones.
Well, a year ago, Apple announced the ability for people like us to actually connect into the iPhone.
Okay.
And we instantly had the idea, we got to go make a new product. Mm-hmm. And there are 100 million iPhones and iPod touches out there.
Okay, and out of those, I'm sure that about at least 20 million ride bikes.
I've been watching, ever since we had this idea, I've been watching. I see the pro cyclists, when they finish their race, they all flip out their iPhones and start calling their buddies. So anyhow, the idea was...
So here it is. You did
this is it.
For that.
This is it. We
for
had this idea.
We
had this idea precisely 1 year ago, and what we did is started working on a new product that we call the iBike Dash, and the idea is a really wonderful one. The idea was to take our electronics and technology out of the iBike, make a new circuit board that would fit in a case that was designed by cyclists for cyclists, which means it's not going to get rain inside of it, and if you get in a crash, you're not going to ruin your iPhone, your iPod Touch. And we put the electronics inside, we updated them, we designed a new case, and we designed an app. We call this case, by the way, the phone booth. Okay? So what happens is that you take the iBike Dash, you slide it on your bicycle. We have a very, very solid mount that works on the bike. Put it in.
You screw it on.
Screw it on.
To further.
It is rock solid. You open the front door of the phone booth, and now, if you have an iPod Touch, or you have a 3G or 3GS, and even the iPhone 4, you take it and slide it in. And now some of your viewers are going to say, they forgot something. The batteries don't last long enough on these. No, we didn't forget it. We actually have an iBike battery that you slide in, close the door of the phone booth.
Far out.
We have an app that's available at the iTunes store. You launch the iBike app, and what you've just done is convert your iPhone or iPod Touch into the world's coolest power meter.
Why don't we show? Actually,
I don't know if you can. Yeah, let me take this off. You'll see how it sits on the bike.
Show it because,
we have screens, full touch control. We actually have maps. We have a speedometer. Here's a speedometer with heart rate and cadence as icons. No more boring numbers. By the way, these screens are fully configurable. You don't like that screen, you can make it anything you want, just the numbers you want. So it just
big numbers, because
big numbers, small numbers.
You can change the size of the numbers.
You can change the size of the numbers.
At our age, I think that size of numbers are significant.
Well, you know what?
I like this one in particular, by the way.
Yeah.
Michael, did you catch this? Yeah, that's cool.
So the idea here is this is a device for people who are really interested in cycling, but they also want to have access to their cell phone. If a cell phone call comes in while you're using your iBike, you take the call. The app will resume when you're done. We have done amazing things with intervals in here. Intervals are the way you train with power. And let me just pick out one here.
Oh, so you actually can do some different training.
Right. And what happens is, now instead of just seeing a number, we actually show, like, very similar to what's on a CompuTrainer. Here is your threshold rate and your target, and the speedometer goes up. You're basically this is saying that I'm supposed to do 300 watts for about a minute. And so it's going to step through, and then it's going to say, okay, back off. So we have an amazing number of workouts built in. Full graphical display. Now, if I'm doing a workout and I want to see where I am, I just touch the map screen, and boom, there's where I'm riding my bicycle right now.
You know what I see is that this is an awesome training tool.
Yes.
Like, you can use this for training, and then, if you race, let's say, or something like that, you might not want to have all of these features,
right.
But then you put one of the smaller units on,
We are coming out with a new mount that will fit on our steer tube system,
Excellent.
rechargeable battery. We call it iBike Race Day, and on race day you put on your regular iBike.
Because I mean, for training, this sounds like an awesome tool.
Yes, and there's one other thing I do want to mention, because we've talked exclusively about power meters today. There are a lot of people who are not yet ready for power, and they don't want to pay for it. We've made a cycling computer version of this as well, $299 price point, so you can have speed, cadence, heart rate, iPhone, iPod Touch. By the way, this has GPS capability, of course, so we're recording all of that. If you don't want the power feature, don't pay for it. You know, that's kind of our iBike philosophy.
Yeah, that's it, modular, I guess.
Yes.
So listen, one more thing that I want to bring out, and that's, you were telling me earlier that you guys are now going to be sponsoring one of the pro teams in Europe.
Yeah, we sponsored Futon Cervado this year.
Is that right?
Yes, and along with them, Garneau Canada, Garneau Florida, Z Motion, Amgen, and Adagio. As we've grown up, we've realized it's more and more important to make sure that people not only see these on pro bikes, but also that pro cyclists will do things no sane bike rider will ever do, and that's helped us improve our product.
It's a great test bed for you.
It is. It has been
well,
great.
you know, one thing is, if you guys have been looking at the news lately, the Futon Cervado team is now owned by Geox. In other words, it's a main sponsor. And they just recently signed Carlos Sastre, who won the Tour de France, and Dennis Menchov, who's won the Tour of Spain twice and the Tour of Italy once. So you're going to have your product in some serious handlebars.
Well, you know, we look forward to working with those guys, and but at the end of the day, it's people like you and me who are going to be using these most, I think.
Well, I mean, that's very true. That's the real user and the real market. But I think that people like to see it on pros, because that gives it a level of confidence, and that gives them a level of, like I said, you know, I mean, to look at Formula One, you know, I'm sure they don't buy the tires, you know, but that's where they test a lot of their new stuff. And I think that you can use these pro teams for, you know, extreme conditions.
We have learned a lot this year.
You were telling me that, you know, they actually rode it in 40-degree weather, a 180-mile race or something.
Rain all the way.
So I mean, if you didn't get some good data out of that, you know. I mean,
well, we got some good data and some good learnings, and we improved the product because of it.
Since you told me that you guys respond so quickly, I'm sure you make some quick improvements.
Actually, I'll tell you a funny story about that, a short one, which is the pro racers have all of their mechanics and things, and we had designed our iBike to operate a certain way. And we discovered that when the mechanic delivers the bike to the beginning of the race, that our iBike wasn't picking up their heart rate strap. We thought, well, we never thought anybody would have a mechanic. So we learned about that on February 7th, and on February 8th, we sent them out new firmware with that problem fixed.
Fantastic. John, it's really been a good learning curve here, and I appreciate very much what you're doing, because I see how you're doing it with passion. I mean, this is not just about a business. This is not just about making money. This is not just about putting a new gizmo on the market. I see that you have passion about what you're doing, and I appreciate that very much. And I think that actually comes through in your products. And
thank you,
I'm sure that sooner or later people will really get the message that something interesting is happening here, and I appreciate it.
Good. Thank you very much for your time. All right.
Thanks. Thanks, guys. We're going to see you real soon with another segment of Inside Pro Cycling TV. Take it easy.